So once again, welcome. Alan, unfortunately, stole my first slide. Yeah, I'm Mikita, and today I'm going to be talking about how we built Juke AI. Juke AI is our agent. It's a combination of different applications. It's not a single application, and it's already released, but it's still in its early stages of development. It's stable, but there will be like more features coming soon. I'm front-end architect at Enonic, and recently I've been leading our AI integration efforts because apparently someone just needs to teach that sly purple guy how to behave. So I plan to talk about some practical learnings we gained along the way. But unfortunately, my manager, Alan, asked me to keep it short. So questions? Yeah, just kidding. So let's talk a bit about how it all started. November 2023, OpenAI dominating the market with its top-tier models, and they just released the Assistance API. It was an early step towards agent-like behavior. It provided history management out of the box, which meant we could just create a demo in a week or so. So we decided to give it a try. And because our XP applications can't just npm install any library, we were unable to use things like LangChain those days. So we 2 weeks, 2 developers, 2 cups of coffee per hour, obviously, and that's how our MVP was born. It was called Saga. Back in the days, it was a single application that contained regular charts and some translation capabilities. But as complexity grew, we had to evolve our approach. Later that summer, we also moved from OpenAI to Google Vertex AI platform. We switched models. First, it was Gemini 1. Flash and Pro versions. We also split our single application into 2 separate applications. One for with chart that operates with content itself and called it Content Operator, and another one just for translation. We called it Translator. So, like speaking about the problems, the first problem was the translation speed, and that's what we decided to fix at first. Initially, it was taking more than 50 seconds to translate large content with multiple A4 pages of text with formatting, but it was slow, it was expensive, and most importantly, it was just a single generate request. And what we did, obvious solution was mostly technical. So we split that single request into multiple requests, one per item, per input, per field on the page, and added a parallel processing, but we limited the number of requests per 5 per user and 10 per platform. So to make sure we don't hit the limits of Vertex AI, like requests per minute and tokens per minute. And we switched model, and now we were able to show progress. As the result, the largest content, it's 2 pages of A4 of text. It now takes less than 5 seconds to translate. And in general, the translation of large or medium content became 5 times faster. And the most important, now we can show feedback instantly and smoothly. So those are 2 main findings. They're pretty obvious, but you should show progress immediately. It really helps with the user experience. And second one, you don't need like the top model to use for simply a task. You need to configure it right. So for translation, we switched to lighter and faster model, like Gemini 1.5 Flash, and then to Gemini 2.0 Flash. Speaking of prompts, please raise a hand who know what prompt is. Yeah, great, awesome. So just for the rest of you, prompt is input instruction for AI or model to make it generate a specific result. And this is the funny. This is not the system prompt we are using in our Juke, but yeah, like the system prompt may look like this. So first go some general instructions, and I asked it to return specifically JSON because I needed JSON, and we used that one a lot in our prompts. Then I asked it to don't mention something and provide it with some examples. And this is what I get for like my prompt, like write a short story about a monkey and banana. As you see, no banana in the text. Yeah, and it's okay, but there is a problem. You may see here. I asked about Markdown, but it seems like it completely ignored me, like my coworkers when I try to when I ask them to review a pool for 100 files. Yeah, that happens even for AI. Can you raise a hand who remembers the last 3 instructions in the previous prompt? Like maybe something about JSON, yeah, banana, yeah, right. Some examples. What about the second?
Short sentences.
Right, right.
One guy.
One guy. Yeah, that's what actually may happen to the model. It may provide you a valid result, but it may ignore one or another instruction because it will give more attention to, for example, this one, the third one, the fourth one. And yeah, this is the problem because that's the actual JSON that we were expecting in our Juke AI application. I just replaced the actual text with a shorter variant. But what we get was like this. Well, technically, it's correct. We asked it to generate 2 variants of something. And as you see, it provided us with 2 variants, but not the way we wanted. So how we fix it? First thing is that we added a response type. It's the most common, the most obvious thing you should probably do, but it will work only in 95% cases. Many guides suggest that you add a mention of JSON in your system prompt. We also add this, but then again, sometimes it started returning the JSON wrapped in Markdown. So we had to trim the JSON out of its response. Then it became creative like this, and we had to normalize this, like the title, to get the actual title, because it's just better to show the title, show the result, instead of showing incorrect result or saying that it can't generate anything. And we provided good examples. I can't tell you what good example is, but probably it's something that works good in your case. And talking with creating prompts for AI is mostly like speaking to a genie from those Arabian fairy tales. Not necessarily the evil one, but a nasty one for sure. And the key lessons that we learned is be clear, specific, and goal-focused in your system prompts at least. And another one is always expect the unexpected in AI outputs. You may test it. You may even get the right results, but don't forget about the user's conversation. So if you have a chat, users' inputs, requests, they may affect what you will eventually get on like tens messages and so on. So next we come to another problem: complexity and misunderstandings. Before, we were sending quite a large prompt. It was like universal, and we dumped the full context of the content. Also added the vague user's message. I'll show the examples of such messages. And that request were aimed to both analyze and generate the response. Back then we used a larger model, but an older one. It was slow, but slow is not always bad. But it was incorrect. It can provide a valid JSON, because we fixed it on previous step, but the data was not something that we expected. And how we actually fix it? We decided to beat one genie using another genie. We split it into several steps. The first step was now contains a master-crafted analysis prompt. We now also provide more sparse context, so it's faster and more focused. But we still send the user's message. We use faster model, a small one, but we configure it to have a lower temperature, also lower nuclear samplings, and some other stuff. We are using Gemini 2.0 Flash on production, but since 2.5 is still in beta, but I would recommend switching to 2.5 if you are using Gemini, because it's just much better. And for tasks where you need to get a well-structured output, I would suggest, highly recommend turning on the thinking mode. Or just if you use another model, just use the reasoning model. As the result, we get task for each field. This is how task, this the structure of task. It contains a task field, which is prompts created by first model for the second one. We also have count, which is the number of variants that we need to generate because user want maybe he asks to generate one field and 5 variants of another field, and we just show it in one response. Then there is some optional fields like language and type. Right now we only support text and HTML. This is the example how it works. So the input for the first step, for the analyze step, might be like this. The context is something about No Time to Die movie, and the user request will be make text more engaging, fix grammar, suggest to, and the model will, it must, and it will understand it correctly, and it will provide a JSON with something like this. Well, it's actually the valid result. So as you can see, it will say fix any grammatical errors and provide 2 different versions, and it will set the count to 2, and so on. The second step is actually generation step. Here we don't need to model be focused on something. We want to be more creative. And we can do this because we already know which fields we need to generate from the previous step, and we can also provide it with a schema, limiting the number of fields and defining the end result. We also can dump not the whole context, and yeah, we provide it with tasks from the previous step, and result we have well-structured content for our fields. Here we use like a pro version, a larger but smarter, more creative model. How Juke apps work in our XP environment. As I mentioned, it's like a regular XP application. It's installed separately, but it exposes its API via XP server events, or via REST, or via both. So it can be called by other parts of XP or even other applications. And each Juke AI app extends Content Studio UI, at least for now. It actually, Content Studio actually injects part of the Juke code into its DOM structure. And it uses browser events to communicate between other applications and Content Studio itself. For example, to put the results into the fields on the page, or copy something, etc. This is the generalized workflow of such application. The core parts are the same, but some parts may be different for each specific application. But the user usually interacts with Juke application UI, and he clicks something, requests to maybe to make some field shorter, and then we send a message to Content Studio part, and this is part of our optimization, not specifically Juke AI optimization, but next version of Content Studio. We run a WebSocket client via shared worker, and then we send the result to the server, and it's all processed in Content Studio. And Content Studio, if it understands that it's Juke AI event, then it will send the XP server event to the XP, and the server part of the Juke will handle it. Then it will call the model adapter. It's our, if I simplify it, it's more like a wrapper around the rest of the Gemini models, with some logic of how to process, how to store the history, the conversation, how to process the data. Then we just sent a regular request via REST to Gemini model and get the response, and then we just send it back to the via WebSocket directly to the Content Studio, and then the Content Studio application will share via browser events the data with the Juke AI, and that's how the user will see the result of his request. Yeah, a bit more technical, but the last thing I want to share with you is like takeaways for your AI integration. Some things are pretty trivial, but some are not. I would suggest splitting complex tasks into steps. Just use different generations for and use smaller prompts, smaller requests if you can, of course. The second is plan for AI output inconsistency. As I showed you, AI can generate in 99% of times like a valid result, especially when you have structured outputs, but sometimes it might still outplay you. Then you may choose model based on your specific needs. You don't need the top model for all your tasks. Sometimes smaller, faster model just be better for user experience, better for costs. As for the prompts, always be clear, specific, and goal focused. And try to show the immediate feedback. You may see this like in reasoning models, in thinking models. If you're using ChatGPT or Gemini, the all models of GPT, you'll see that they show the thinking process because they just can't show you the result instantly. And the last one is periodically revise and optimize your prompts, because what may work for previous model, maybe not previous version of model, but previous update, may stop working for the latest updates, or you may even end up with some obsolete stuff out there. So, questions about Juke, about AI?
No questions? Come on.
A bit.
Gotta be questions.
Juke.
Has anyone here started using Juke, by the way? Has anyone adopted it? What? Not counting us in Enonic, okay? Okay, but that explains the lack of questions, but yeah.
One question in regards to the translations part.
Yeah, translation.
Is there a prompt for the translation that's being run to translate the content, meaning that you instruct?
Yeah, we have system prompt for translation also.
My question is directly to if we have, say, a customer that uses a lot of text and they have domain-specific terms that are supposed to be translated a specific way or not to be translated at all. Is there a way for us to configure Juke?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we allow to have your custom dictionary, and like you can configure your application for the specific content for the whole project or something like that, and Juke will try to follow your recommendations. It can be not just a dictionary, but the not the users, but like a company guidelines, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
We support both it for translation and for content generation. So
you can add your own
configure it.
little prompt on a project or site level.
Perfect.
So you can just tell it to use always Trønder dialect or whatever you want.
It's just to assign the app to the site or
the
project,
project,
and then you
yeah.
get the config as always in the app, and then you can put in whatever you want there, which will be added to the prompt that you don't see.
That sounds very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
You said something about events and different apps. Is there any way for my app to be able to?
Yeah, we are planning it. It will probably come with a new version of Content Studio, so Content Studio 6, like that. Yeah, we are trying to get it right, to provide the right API, but I don't know, maybe for 5.7, but I'm not sure.
Don't know yet, but there is definitely the first time we tried it ourselves. So now we are sure that it works for what it's worth. So at some point we're gonna make it public. Yeah.
Cool. And I comment to the last question. I tried it a bit on a site we have, and I tried instructing the AI to write in this kind of manner if you are in this part of the content tree, and this other more professional if you are in this part, and that worked pretty good.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a limited context, but it's enough to figure out what kind of language and words and stuff to use.
Nice.
As I said, we are still on Gemini 2.0. It's really good, but 2.5 much better, just much better. But since it's still in beta, we can't use it right now in production. But yeah, they will release a stable version soon.